Hey everyone, this is LYS from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast. All right. Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. We are live and direct. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of EduSteps powered by LYS, Laddering Your Success. As always, I'm your good friend, LYS here with my other good friend, Festus Samoya. Festus, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. The more naps, the better, but I'm doing well otherwise.
Naps are key. Naps are key, man. Got to get that rest. Rest is very, very key. I used to hate naps as a kid. Now I can't get enough. I need the naps. I feel you, man. But Festus got two kids and he got two boys. So yeah, he definitely needs them naps, man. Here with the doctor to be, the one and only, Jamark Crawford. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Man, happy to have you. He is currently on a rocket going to Mars. Tesla, self-driving. No, I'm just kidding. And of course, we have the ambassador, Timothy, the blessed one, Zachariah, Clayton. I'm just calling you all names today. Daniel Hill, how you doing today, Daniel?
Man, you know I'm awesome, man. Awesome, man. Just doing good. Just out here, just ain't living life, you know what I'm saying? Enjoying the cheddars. That's about it.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate the roles. I will be indulgent. Please believe that. And we are so honored to have a wonderful guest with us, someone who's been in education for 25 years, someone who's passionate and found their purpose in working with young people, Benita Gordon. How you doing today, Benita?
I am great. How are you guys?
We are doing great. We're so thankful. It's so awesome when people see what we're doing and they see the passion behind what we're doing. They see the mission behind what we're doing and the vision behind what we're doing, and they jump on and they want to come in like-mindedness and work. So we're just so thankful to have you on with us today.
Thank you.
Actually, before we even get going into what we're talking about, we always like to get the be, know, do, or get the LYS background, or just understand the purpose of whoever comes on with us. So what I want to do with you, Benita, is I want you to, this is your time, this is your stage, right? I want you to just tell us about your story, how you found your purpose and your passion, and what you did with that passion, right? What you did with that purpose.
So I always start off with, everybody says that they were one of those people who played with the dolls and they were teaching the dolls. I was not. I knew that they did not make a lot of money, and I did not want to be poor. I did not want to be a poor teacher. I attended Hampton University. I applied to the nursing school and got in, went to sleep and woke up, and the Lord said, go change your major right now. Before you all your parents' money. Change it to elementary education. Our mom was the first grade teacher for several years back in rural Virginia, and fell in love with it. Went home. Actually, what happened was I went home for Christmas break and had signed up to substitute. Went to my old elementary school and was like, I'm gonna do 2-3 days. And I ended up working my entire break because the teacher was out sick. And the teachers who were taught me came around me and circled around me and taught me how to do lesson plans and taught me how to teach within those 2 weeks. And I was like, oh yeah, this is where I need to be. These are rural kids like I am, and I grew up with a plethora of teachers that looked like me. So me coming into education, I wanted to make sure that my students had wonderful teachers like I had. Shout out to Brunswick Senior High School, to Taro, Lawrenceville, Virginia, because the community and those teachers, they raised me. They wouldn't let me slip. They wouldn't let me slack. And then my parents at home, I have an older sister who, they always lead the way. So she was the brainiac. So I'm trying to come in behind her and keep my grades up. And then my aunt said, come to teach in middle school, started in elementary school. And I was like, I'm not messing with the middle school kids. We the same size. Fell in love with middle school and have been in middle school since 2000. And I love it. I love my 7th graders, 8th graders, 6th graders. Yeah, I don't really like them. But my 7th and 8th graders, those are my babies. That's my heart. And have always been in what we say, quote unquote, Title I or turnaround schools. So I am one of the people that they hire to go into a school that's on fire and help with classroom management, mentor new teachers, not necessarily discipline, but helping us understand what does the child need and to restore the relationship in the classroom. And then be the go between the administrators and the teachers, because sometimes that's not a good, healthy relationship. So we have to restore it. And retired this year. May 26th was my birthday, and it was my last day of 25 years of teaching. Shout out to Memphis Kirby Middle, love y'all. And walked out the door and moved back to Miami, where my family is, even though I'm from Virginia, most of my family's here right now. And just said, you know what? DeSantis and his crew, they're doing a lot of stuff. We need to open a micro school for middle schoolers, so teens and tweens. And so that's what we're working on right now, processing that. And it's exciting. It's a lot of work. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen and how we're going to give kids true school choice.
Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is awesome. That is so amazing. I think what I love the most about what you're doing is it's the action to the, so basically we talk a lot about be, no, do. And so that's kind of, that's our methodology at LYS. And the B is like, you know, what are your values? What are your principles? The no is what are the resources around you and how do you get access to them? And the do, which I think is, you know, most powerful, is the action. How do you execute with excellence? And I think the big thing I got from what you said is it's just putting the action to your purpose, right? And I heard someone say this a long time ago. Your passion is going to be the thing that makes you the most angry, right? I don't think people really notice that. It's like you got a lot of people who are really lost, but you know, every time I talk with people, you know, it's like everything kind of comes down to like this main holistic building block. And it's like, yo, your purpose is that thing that keeps you up at night. It keeps you angry. You're always looking for stories about this thing. And the fact that you just went out and you're like, no, we're just going to do it ourselves, right? Almost like Thanos. What did Thanos say? I don't watch a lot of Marvel, but I do remember, I like some of the things. Thanos said, I'll just do it myself.
I'll just do it myself. Get all the rings, get all the stones. Let's go.
So I love that. I love that. You got the gauntlet now.
I love that. I'm using that. That's stolen.
Give it. It's not stolen, it's given, it's yours, it's yours. Well, you mentioned something. You talked about Governor DeSantis, and you know, I think Florida and Texas are almost like country cousins, you know, because there's a lot of similarities going on between Florida and Texas. Really crazy time that we live in right now, especially when it comes to the avenue of education, which is so powerful. Festus, if you could real quick, you always say something really, we think about education like school, but when we talk about edifying for life, right? What is the true definition of education? I can't think of it.
So when you look up the definition of education, and it's in its Latin origin, to ed is to uplift, right? And then cation is where we get the word caution from. So it's to uplift care, right? And so what you're supposed to do in education is to uplift the care or concerns of the one who's getting the education or getting the tutelage. And unfortunately, just our system seems to uplift the system first and foremost, rather than the actual education. And to a certain degree, I can understand it, right? To a certain degree, I can understand. And what do I mean by that? Education as an institution, the way schools are formulated, right? Because, you know, again, the school process, the school structure, the fact that you have, you know, middle school, high school, you know, you basically divvy it up. That's really an international thing, right? All over, but it does come mainly from the international West, meaning English standards of education versus East or something like that, right? Because if those who like culture and study like culture and different kind of things like that, if you were to go into, let's say, a monastic setting, you know, where Tibetan monks are, you're not going to see like, oh, this is where we keep the little kids, and then this is where we keep the big kids. You know, you're going to see everybody kind of together learning the same things, and obviously different paces and different structures, but in a together setting, right? Which that has its pros and it has its cons, especially, as we talk about micro schools and different learning environments. So if you think about your kids, right, especially kids in the US, right, I think this is huge because oftentimes older kids help set the pace and standard of action for younger kids. So when you separate and you put the high school kids over there and you put the elementary school kids over there, they have no idea what's going on with the high school kids and how they behave and how they act. And those cohorts, they have some application, but over time, what ends up happening is everybody kind of fits into their category. And now when they have to enter society and do and be with everybody else, they don't know how to act. Because I'm so used to being around people in my age group, such and such, I don't know what it's like to interact. And so I think oftentimes this creates generational divides, which has its effects on mentorships, has an effect on even how kids see their grandparents, right, and things like that. So I'll kind of cap with that there, but I'm definitely, I'm flipping a coin on the Texas, Florida, everybody else. How you're talking about the cousin, the country cousins. Because to me, I think some things are being done that are right and beneficial. When it comes to school choice, I'm a big fan of school choice, but when it comes to, and I know we're going to talk about this later, libraries, discipline center. I'm like, I don't think that's really what it is. I haven't, I'm a big fan of, let me firsthand read what they're saying. I don't want to see what's on the news. Y'all been lying too much. Y'all told me if I took the vaccine, I couldn't get COVID, couldn't spread COVID. Okay, y'all lying. Okay, so that's just me. Okay, but anyway, so I'm just more interested in like, okay, what are the factors? And I know sometimes we could look at these policies and think it's only skin deep, but I think sometimes it's deeper than that. So I'm interested in the conversation today.
Beautiful. I think you hit the nail on the head though, right? When you talked about, all right, these things are being done, but what is the true purpose, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are right now. We are just in the age of, Dave Chappelle called it something. Basically, we're just at the time where we have access to more information, but there are more falsehoods and non-truths that are being spread out, right? And so what the foundation of this was what's going on in Houston, where we live right now, which I think may be happening in other places, or I think it could set a precedent for things that happen in other large areas, right? Where the state recently took over the largest school district in the state, HISD, Houston Independent School District. And they brought in a whole new board. They brought in a new superintendent, making a lot of changes. And some of the things that are happening right now, which this is something that's been happening for a while, right? Associate teachers, basically uncertified teachers being put in classrooms to teach students. That happened in our district, in the district I worked at. It happened last year. We started to see a lot more associate teachers. A lot of that had to do with the teacher shortages that were happening across the nation, right? But one of the things I saw that was recent was the superintendent was asking for permission from the TEA, Texas Education Agency, to hire uncertified principals, right? So now we're looking at uncertified principals coming into schools. One of the other things that was really polarizing issue was the libraries, right? So the superintendent talked about turning some libraries in some of the NES schools, not all the schools, in some of the NES schools, NES standing for New Education System. And let me tell you, it is new. I've never said a word that has a definition, but I try to use it in, like, see the way I turn my body? It is new. It's new. But so in some of the NES schools, he wants to take libraries out and turn them into discipline centers or things like that. And I think that term, when we hear discipline, it's like, what? You're going to have a whole in-school suspension thing in the library? we tend to think in like worst case scenarios, right? Almost like like Coach Rowland back in the day, right? Festus was like, worst case scenario. Oh, they're gonna put all the kids in the library, right? And so that's another thing. And so I just want to start off let's start off talking with the uncertified teachers and the uncertified principals. Obviously, there's a reason why you have to be certified. There's a plan, there's a purpose, there's a reason why. How do we feel in this day and age about the associate teacher program and certified teachers and certified principals, and how does that affect education moving forward? How does that affect education in the future, you think? Hey, LYS fam, it's Ole. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that even though the cost of college can be daunting, the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook can assist you in realizing your dreams. You can identify and apply for scholarships using the information, advice, and resources in our comprehensive guide. Also, we've provided a template for a successful scholarship essay to help you stand out from the crowd. Don't allow student loan debt to control you. Get your copy of the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook right away to take charge of your destiny. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to that fire conversation.
So I have to learn more about the associate teacher. Are they almost like how we used to have to take the 1 year test like that, or the 1 year?
So I think that's a really good question, right? Because we have to have context. I know that where we worked, the program was, all right, you're an associate teacher, you're not certified. You don't get paid the same salary as a teacher, right? So you're going to be making maybe 10% less, maybe somewhere 10 and 12% less. Let's just say that's how much you're getting paid, less than a certified teacher, right? But when you sign on, there's an agreement that within a certain amount of time, you will be a certified teacher. So it's almost like gaining your experience, right, as an associate teacher until you become a certified teacher.
So
right?
is it almost like Texas teacher?
Yeah. I would say something similar to that. And you know, a lot of districts are actually doing their own program where it's like, stay, y'all leave us alone. We're gonna control the narrative with our teachers. We're gonna teach our teachers how we want them to teach our students, right? And you know, they'll do their program that way. Mm-hmm. The same thing with the principals, right? Especially since that's a major role, right? You're talking about not just the classroom now, you're talking about all the classrooms, right? Mm-hmm. In a particular grade level or the entire school if you're the head of principal. And I'm assuming, I hate to assume, but let's hope that if you're a well-planned thinking district, knock on wood, you're saying if you're signing on to be let's call it an associate principal, that within a certain time period, you'll become a certified, you'll have your licensing and everything you need to be a principal. Now, the issue that I see is with the teacher shortage that we have, right? How strongly is that going to be pushed? Are districts going to have a mindset of, we just need to have someone in the class, right? We just got to have somebody in the class. That's all we need. You got lesson plans. We made all the lesson plans, right? You just go in there and you do it, right? I think that's the major concern that I would assume parents would have, other teachers would have, stakeholders and communities would have, because the whole reason that the school got taken over was because of low test scores. And I don't even think it was low test scores at like all schools. I think it was just a couple of schools that had low test scores. And so if there's low test scores, right? And usually in a SMART goal plan, one of the things you want to do is you want to elevate, have more effective trainings, right? You want to improve the quality of your teachers, so that improves the quality of the students' learning, which improves hopefully the test scores. How does bringing uncertified associate teachers help? I hope my hand gestures are making sense with the ipso facto, where to. So that's where the question comes in, right? I'm leaving it up for y'all. What do y'all think?
It doesn't. That's my answer. That's like somebody saying, well, it also depends if there's somebody who's just really struggled with test taking too. Some people are great teachers, they cannot pass that test for nothing. But then at the same time, we got people just coming in just getting jobs because, it's there. But that's like saying, that's almost like saying, if my restaurant is terrible, I bring in some more chefs that don't know how to do anything and then let them start cooking. Like, bro, they don't know how to cook. They not chefs.
What they call that show? Worst cooks in America.
Yeah, that part.
Where's the lamb sauce? Where's the lamb sauce?
Hey, that's like, okay, like, Festus does a physical, the body thing. That's like them getting rid of Festus and he's like, I bring it in meat. I'm about to tear up everything. I'm about to mess up your hamstring. I'm mess up your Achilles. I'm just saying, y'all gonna pay me, but I'm about to tear up everything in that building. I'm done.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a super tough one. It's like, again, to me, I hear the understanding of like, okay, teachers are quitting, so there's a shortage of teachers, so on and so forth. And it takes a while to get people certified and things like that. So I get that point of the argument, but what concerns me the most is this is throwing lipstick on a pig, in my opinion. It's you're not really addressing the primary issue of quality educators, because not everybody should actually be a teacher. It's just the truth of the matter. And I definitely think Daniel had a very valid point, which I definitely agree with. A lot of people don't know what and how to actually get their career off the ground. And teaching is just like, it pays, 50, 60, 70,000 a year, and you don't need much to get it going. So, hey, look, it pays pretty decent. I guess summer's off. And that's the mindset some people enter with it, And so it's like, look, man, let me see how long I could draw this out before I have to take that test, or before I got to get certified. And so to me, that's really concerning. I think the flip side of it, which I'm kind of here for, is having people with diverse experience around students, because, there's the formal education structure. And this is just, okay, I know I'm gonna get critics for this. Y'all can email at olanka.sharonke@ladderinsuccess. No, I'm joking. So anyway, this is the big part though. To me, a lot of educators, because all they studied was education, teaching is the profession that creates all other professions. And so because you just studied education, you don't know what it's like to be the scientist at Shell. You don't know what it's like to be, the physical therapist in the hospital. You don't know what it's like to be the journalist at the newsroom, And so to me, that's where I'm kind of here for it, because I'm like, I like that diversity of people being able to come in. And so to me, I think if it was structured in such a way that it's like, look, kids, go to your normal schools, or classrooms, learn your ABCs, learn your basics, but then you have a choice to go learn from such and such who has these experiences, and they could talk with you and mentor you. I'm kind of here for that, but I don't think that's what the outcome is going to be. So anyway, I'll turn it back over. Ms. Benita, you got anything?
Jamar, is it Jamar?
Yeah, I think his camera's down.
I don't know if he's still on, but so this is my answer to this. Yes and a no. So whenever we do programs like this, and they're not structurally sound, if you don't have the curriculum, you don't have the mentorship in place, it's going to be a hot mess. And that's even if I go through an education program, when I come into the real classroom where human kids, if you don't have a mentor and you don't help me with this, it's going to be a hot mess. I feel hot mess coming up. I'm just going to tell you, because we've done this before. I'm from Virginia. We have provisional license. I am a person who had a provisional license. Hampton said, do you want to stay extra year to get your education certification? My mom and dad said no. We said 4 years and no more. So I said, no, thank you. Started teaching with just an English degree. And I had 2 years to take, I'm so old, it was called the teacher's exam. It wasn't even called a praxis. It literally was called a teacher's exam. And I had 2 years to take and pass this exam. And so I understand, and yes, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. Many of us struggle. I could pass the English because I'm an English teacher. The math part I had to take twice. And luckily the structure was in place. So those of us in the county, in the city, who they knew needed our licensure, we had free classes, we had free tutoring. It was mandatory assignment. These are the days you can go. They had every day, Monday through Friday and a Saturday morning that I could choose from. And I had to be in attendance to get the tutoring for the subject that I was not passing. And then they would let you retake. I think you could do that like 3 times for free. So like, we're paying attention to your pay. I don't have money to go out to hire someone to help me pass the teacher's exam. And so I like the programs, but let's be strategic. Let's put some logistics in place. Let's put some mentoring in place to ensure that we're putting people in front of our students who are not detrimental to them. I have come into a situation, like I was hired in February. I was a former military spouse. You know, we'll move when they tell us to move. We moved and it was in the middle of the school year. Walked into a classroom in February and was like, what? In the blankety blank blank. Because they had just had subs and they had just had a warm body in the room. And in my first 2 weeks, some kids looked at me and they tried everything but Jesus coming down himself to get me back to leave. But I had to remind them, I'm here until you graduate 8th grade. Because they had had so many people leave and it was a revolving door of subs. And so we have to ensure that we have logistics and a strategic plan. But I want to go back. So when I was researching this district, this is a political play also. And so when you go back and research the district, this is a political play. Let's just, we're going to research. I'm going to research some stuff. So this little district is sitting here in the middle of all of these other districts and it's a different color. The people vote a different way. And they were running their own show. And I even saw a parent on TikTok come for the new superintendent. She said, we about to be best friends.
Festus knows about that one.
You saw that one.
Good.
And so it was amazing because one of the things as an educator, we want parents involved. I tell my parents all the time, if you say it, they'll listen. I done said it 20 times. I said to them, we don't have any AC. I told my kids one day, I said, everybody take a picture, take a selfie, just look bad. I was spritzing my kids with some water. I said, just look bad. Oh, woe is me. Text it to your mom, dad, your grandma, everybody. Tell them how hot it is. Text them this number and this email. The next day, the county people were in there fixing the AC in my building. We have been asking for and I know my principal was asking because he was miserable with us. And so when the parents saw that power, it was.
Looks like your bandwidth is low. Hold on, wait 1 second.
Oh, did it come back?
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
I was just telling them they can hire me. I'll come fix it.
Yes, well, the crazy thing is, thank you so much for that, because you said something that I really want to get back to. They actually had open call for people who wanted to join this community board or something like that. And they were overwhelmed with applications for it. But I'm so glad you said what you said, Ms. Benita, because the first time we talked about this, maybe 3 weeks ago, I said, if you live in HISD, this is your time to come together as a community. If ever there was a moment where all stakeholders, educators, parents, and students came together, this was it. This is going to be a major, major, major moment, I think, in the nation, really, when it comes to how we involve ourselves in the political machine, right, of a community. I don't think we really, really understand our power collectively. And so there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if you've seen that video with the ref where he's like watching a boxer like, I really want to wait and see what happens, and fortunately, since I, left the classroom, we've had more time to get involved and do more things in the city, and we're going to continue to do that. But I really, really, really want to see how we respond as a community with a lot that's happening right now, because you're seeing it. And the beautiful thing about it is, you said political. Now we're seeing, hey, this system doesn't care if you're Black. It doesn't care if you're brown. It's not about that. It's about, what does every single kid need? Right? What does every single kid need, and what are they not getting? How do we make sure every kid gets that? So thank you so much for that. Jamark, I know you was trying to get your stuff situated. Are you good? Did you want to jump in on this comment, on this topic? Sorry. Oh no, he's still on his rocket ship.
I know, moving in slow motion. You see how the camera was like, shipping rockets over there.
Oh no, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Well, let's jump in. I want to talk quickly about the libraries, right? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, this was even new for me. This whole libraries thing, I don't know if I'm like y'all.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Barely. You sound like this.
Come back to earth.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. We're on the moon. He has he'll come back.
The boy just fell out.
So, when I think about the so it's 50-50, right? When I think about libraries, there's a part of me that's like, well, most of the kids, a lot of their books are on, they can go on an app and they can get access to all their different books, right? But not everyone can do that. And there's I had to go back. I was like, when you were in elementary school, don't you remember, like, going to the library was like, that was it. That was it. You went and you got the books. There was games, there was stuff. I mean, there's just so much to it. And I'm like, to turn that into a discipline center, and we still don't know a lot of the details, but there's a lot that goes with it. What do you got here, Festus?
So this is the district, I guess you could say, this is a district website for NES schools. And so just kind of trying to overlook what the district is showing the public, right? And I think obviously the thing is, there's not a ton of information here regarding what does that actually mean, right? And so, like I said, I'm more of a straight to the horse's mouth kind of person, instead of hey, going to focus on whatever the news media is saying.
Yeah, for sure.
From what I've been able to gather, though, basically the thought process behind the library transition would be bringing in and this is where I think this is going to be a hot mess. This is a soup sandwich. What we call in the military a soup sandwich. You ever try to pick up a soup sandwich, the whole thing just falls apart. Basically, from what I've gathered, from what I've read on the American Library Association, right? So you want to definitely go to trusted sites. This was a letter that they sent to the district about the librarians, but then from what I also read on this site here, which is the HISD site, if you are quote unquote get in trouble, you'll be removed from the classroom to go to the library to work with a team of specialists and watch your classroom on Zoom and basically do your work there in the library instead of with the rest of the class. Now, I think that there's definitely some pros and cons to it, because for me, I worked as a behavior interventionist. So basically, this sounds like SAC 2.0, right? This is SAC Room 2.0. And so to me, are there additional supports in that space? And what do I mean by additional supports? I know a lot of people talk about restorative justice, what's discipline, different types of things like that. And I think those things even have their place. Why do I say they have their place? Because when a student gets outside in the real world, nobody's going to tell them breathe and count to 10 when they get upset. They need to know that already, right? And so the thing is, if the school is saying, hey, look, we're going to have specialists in there who are going to talk to them about their behavior and what's going on. We're going to have counselors in there, because a lot of times, since kids are not expressive, they're not able to share or articulate what is bothering them, and it comes out sometimes in behavior. I think those things have their place, but I don't see a very clear, and to me, I would have definitely made this very clear before public announcement. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to say, hey, look, we're getting rid of these librarians, and it sounds like shutting down the libraries, especially when we know that people who are impoverished tend not to read anyway, and that's a sharp double-edged sword to me, because it's saying, look, y'all don't be reading these books anyway, so why don't we just get rid of these books in here, and you know what I mean, and put y'all. And so to me, instead of giving them more support and saying, hey, look, if you come in here, we're going to have reading interventionists in here, they're going to read with your child, they're going to do XYZ with your child to help enhance the learning. I kind of see it as being, similar to what we did at Sharpstown. You know what I mean? Some people from the community members coming in and saying, hey, help them with these classes. They're failing these classes and the grades suck. Help them try to catch up. And to me, again, we had great success with the students that we work with, but we have a strong passion and desire to see students succeed. Whereas and we also have degrees and training and so on and so forth. So these are things that are all question marks to me. Absolutely.
That's real, bro. But you know what, Festus? You actually said at the beginning, like, first of all, people don't read, and the news will hype stuff up. So all they said was, I think the title just said HIZ shutting down libraries.
Libraries fired. Librarians fired.
Right. And I'm like, bro. But now Festus explained it, like, bro, when I was a kid, I know it's gonna sound funny. I think everybody's got real sensitive the last couple of years. But when I grew up as a kid, when my black butt got in trouble, they sent my butt to the either SAC or to the library, bro. I mean, that's what we were. And then when you act right, they brought your little butt back. But I mean, what he's saying, that's different. Like saying, like, there was nobody in the library teach me back then. It was just like, you're gonna sit here and shut up until you yeah, but until you act right. I mean, let's be honest, growing up, they didn't play with us, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, oh, go back to class, go over here, calm down, like you said, breathe twice. They'd be like, they would us, you know what I'm saying, like, go over there, breathe all you want to, but you ain't bring your butt back. But what you said, that's interesting. Like, they're gonna have,
I don't know. I'm not saying that.
No, my bad. What you read, because you actually
No. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Hold on.
He said it.
I gave my thoughts on what they should do, and I said it's not clear what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
So that's two different things, okay? But they said they're gonna have some people in there. I don't know who the people are, what they're doing. So
fake news, but nah, hey. If they come in there and they get part of the class and they have laptops and they can watch and still learn, but like what Festus was saying would be a good idea if somebody was in there actually helping them while they was on that Zoom. That's a different game changer, bro. The kid, he gets pulled out, but he still got to learn. That's different from what I was. Like I said, they just pulled my butt out. So
sad story, man. I literally was put into a closet. And it was this closet. It looked like something with the AC in there, but I was kind of a mischievous child, and this is, I think it was, who was it? Was it Miss Spurlock? I think it might have been Miss Spurlock, but they put me in this room, man, and left me in the room. Didn't bring me lunch. Forgot about me till the end of the day. They just gave me a box of crayons, bro. It was pretty bad.
Hey. Bro, that's the way it was growing up, though, bro. We grew up in, man, them people didn't give a thing. Like, bro, I'm calling your mama, and it's over when you get home. You in trouble here and at home. They ain't give a dang about it. They like, man,
I'm surprised professors don't know how to work a boiler room by now.
That's what I think it was. I think it was like a boiler. It was just like, bro, it was no AC. It was so hot in there. I was just in there sweating like, oh man, I should have. And that was the thing. I was a mischievous kid. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't trying to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just did knucklehead stuff. So
Yeah, just a boy type stuff. That's all.
yeah.
So
Go ahead, Benita.
we
Go
don't
ahead.
have, you don't have teachers for the classroom, but all of a sudden you're gonna have some extra people in the library to handle the kids that the teacher said to come get. And who are these teachers? Because I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that I've had teachers send kids out of class for chewing gum, not popping the gum, chewing the gum. Ma'am, little girl, if you don't spit this gum out of my hand right here with no napkin, I don't care nothing about your little germs. And go back to class and shut your mouth up and here, take this Altoid because you said you needed something. And go back to class. So now I'm concerned, who is in the library? Yes, everything is about how you word it. You literally told America that you are closing schools. It's closing the libraries in Black and brown schools to worry about discipline. Pre-K to prison pipeline is real. So now we're concerned. Be transparent when you're doing things. Put everything out on the table so that the parents can trust you with their children and trust the new education system that's coming in. And they didn't do that. And so now the backlash is here. I've been at a school, we had a room like that. We had a room where we could send the kids out. We would use Trello. We use Trello. Say, hey, come on, get Jamal for just this class period. We're gonna reset. He's not suspended. He just needs to reset. We call it a reset room, literally. And he needs to come back in and here's his work. And then the second problem I have is Zoom didn't work when we was home on COVID. Why do you think it's gonna work now? I'm so confused. Like it's so many parts of this that's just not conducive to the learning of the child or resetting the child or resetting the adult to have the child back in class. I have kids that didn't even go to lunch. They loved the library. It was an anxiety thing to be in the cafeteria with 400 other students. They were safe from being bullied. My students that were Muslim during Ramadan, the library is where they went for lunch. Where do they go? Where's the safety for those students? Because that's what the library is for them.
That's what the French call touche.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Ole. You know, if there's one thing I love, it's something free. I'm talking free 99, un gratis. No shipping or handling fees, no gotcha fees, nothing like that. With that being said, if you're graduating soon or thinking about college or need a nudge or help to decide, then our free ebook, 10 Things to Think About Before Going to College, has a very balanced and open-minded way of presenting your next steps. It captures broad topics in a personal way by giving students an insightful, interactive, and reflective source of inspiration. It is very beneficial to be able to visualize some of the concepts after high school and apply them directly to you. We all know life, college, and career planning decision-making choices for students can be challenging, especially as they near the completion of high school. This book will provide you with a self-paced guide to your success beyond academics and into real life. Not only is it free, you can complete this book within a week. This will definitely prepare you for long-term success. To get your free copy, simply go to lys.com/students. I mentioned it was free, right? Well, if I didn't, it's free. Like, for real, for real. Okay, back to the podcast.
Great point.
Absolutely.
Jamar?
Can you guys hear me now?
He's back, yeah!
I'm in there. All right, sorry about all that. Man, well, I'm gonna start with the first topic y'all started with about 30 minutes ago. I know I'm 30 minutes late.
You good,
But
bro.
the first question that you guys had framed was, the thoughts on uncertified teachers and principals, or associate teachers and associate principals. And from my perspective, I don't have a problem with that unless, I don't have a problem with that if there is a system set in place to actually prepare the teachers or the principals. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about what we have that's called professional development, because if I'm being honest and straightforward, from my experience in different districts, professional development does not prepare you for what's actually going on in the classroom. I feel like We need learning opportunities for these adults to actually prepare them for real life situations and circumstances within the classroom. Not only do we need to teach them and prepare them how to teach whatever content that they're being hired for, but we also need to prepare the teacher and how to deal with different scenarios and circumstances dealing with these particular students. Because I feel like, even so, I went to school for education, got my undergrad in education, got my master's in education, get my doctorate in education. It's all still perfect world scenarios, and that's the problem. It's they give you this cookie cutter solution to say, hey, this is how you should deal with this student. But in reality, it varies. We might try to predict that the student will react this way. Well, hey, all you have to do is move this student, be in close proximity. Sometimes those things don't work. And so we have to equip our teachers, or the ones, or the associate teachers, or the associate principals, equip them like, hey, just be prepared, this might happen, but these are some de-escalation strategies that you can try to implement. It might not work, but just know there's things that you can do to de-escalate the situation. And so when we take teachers and just put them in the classroom, even teachers who went to school for education, and they have to deal with maybe this rowdy student, and us being human, we respond in a human way. It escalates the situation. It's like, hey, that wasn't in my textbook in school, or this situation wasn't on the certification test. Like, what's going on? So if districts have systems that are set in place that will actually develop the whole teacher, that means the instructional part of the teacher, the relationship part of the teacher, and the professionalism part of the teacher, then I wouldn't have a problem with that, because a certification is just a piece of paper of proof that you passed the test saying that you could do something. That don't necessarily translate into ability and practice, right? Then going to the second topic, where you guys are talking about the library and things of that nature, I do think it's unfortunate that the library is the place that they chosen to basically send the students that are, rowdy or whatever, to remove them from the classroom. I do think that's unfortunate, but I do have understanding, because if I'm not agreeing with what everything HISD is doing, but I can see how they think that's aligned with their goals, which is to raise test scores. And the thing that I see in schools that are classrooms that hurts the progression of, I guess, student achievement is the lack of classroom management, right? So again, we have teachers that haven't been developed holistically, right? It's, I passed this test and the cookie cutter solution, move this kid, stand next to him, this and this and this. And so we don't really have classroom management, right? And so I kind of see what they're trying to do. Hey, if we remove all the bad kids, then instruction will still go for those kids who are at least behaviorally trying their best, right? So I do get it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can kind of see that for those. But I think the thing will be, let's work on classroom management. How can we support these teachers to deal with the everyday circumstances within the classroom, and removing the child as a last option? Like Miss Benita said, not moving the kid because they're chewing gum or this and this and that. Because I can understand if a teacher is asking a student to please stop chewing gum and they looking dead at them and continue to chew the gum. I'm gonna handle that different, but that ain't gonna be a problem in my room, but I'm a little bit different. So, but again, preparing the whole teacher for these situations, and maybe you won't need a room or area as big as the library. Maybe you can have a designated classroom or two, depending on how big the school is. But you should need a library to seat 50 kids. If it's 50 kids being removed from the classroom, then that's a systemic problem. Then they go back to the basics. Classroom management for all teachers. I don't care if you've been teaching 20 years, 50 years. If you putting out that many kids, there's a problem. Okay, I know I was talking loud, but I had to get all that in before I forget and my connection dropped.
Fully done. Wonderfully done. And anyone else that wanted to come in and say something, because I know that was a lot. Really good stuff. Thank you, Jamar. Oh, Hill said, yeah, but did y'all see the pay?
Right.
Well, you know what? I'm not even going to lie to you. I think the unfortunate thing that happens to teachers is we you ever hear about like teams that are like playing to their competition, right? Like
Yeah,
you're like the
instead of
best team in
leading,
the
yeah.
league. I'm sorry, go ahead, Festus.
No, instead of leading, yeah, just playing to the competition. Yeah.
Right, just so like we're the best team. We're undefeated right now. We're 15-0, squad full of just monsters, and we're going up against like a little scrawny team.
Patriots
Ain't no
versus
organization.
versus.
Huh?
I said Patriots versus New England.
Patriots versus New England.
Yeah, I mean Patriots versus New York Giants.
Okay, yeah, exactly, right. And so you come in, and all of a sudden it's fourth quarter, and y'all are both tied at like 20. And you're like, what's going on? And I feel like as teachers, the culture of teaching has been so washed down. Teachers are just so depleted to where we see things like the pay and we're like, yeah, you see how much they're getting paid? And it's like, we forget that that's how much we kind of should be getting paid already. And that's the unfortunate part. It's like, I think that's what's attracting a lot of these teachers is like, oh yeah, but look at the pay. It's like, bro, you should be getting that now. Like without the new education system, that should be your pay now. But it's just because there's a lack of accountability. There's a lot of political plays that are happening here, why these things happen. But real quick, I wanted to talk about something that Jamark hit on, where he talked about all teachers getting that PD and stuff. One of the biggest things I've noticed in schools and the 5 years that I taught was the lack of accountability and the humility, or the lack of humility, to take criticism or critiques. And I think that's something that's kind of hurt the culture of teaching is, man, it's really disheartening to see how a lot of teachers, because of politics in the school, right? Because it trickles down, because of politics in the school, how, certain teachers don't want to listen to other teachers or this, that, just a bunch of, if I can be frank, just catty nonsense that takes away from the heart of what you're trying to do. So that's something that I noticed. I know, Mark, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
I wanted to say something when you was talking about the pay real quick. I feel like that was a tactic used to get people to apply because everyone is not even getting it. It came out that everyone is getting, I think they was talking about 90,000 or whatever. They're not even getting paid that. They switched it up and pulled the okie doke and saying, you're going to get paid depending on the subject that you're going to teach. And so that was just a tactic to get all eyes and get people applying. Everyone's not even getting that pay. Everyone's pay is going to be different depending on the subject that they want to focus on. So I feel like that was just a tactic, used to get more eyes on them, to get more people to apply due to the teacher shortage.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, that was one that was what, 96,000 or something they said. Crawford, was that the one? But I was just tripping off of what Festus has showed us. They said the base of anybody in this program is between 81 to 86,000 now.
So here's the thing. It was in the news recently. So this guy, they promised him like 87 some thousand.
Yeah.
And so when he got the paper offer, it was, I think he said 20,000 lower than what they verbally offered him. Right. And so he contacted them and say, hey, I think there's something wrong. This is not what we agreed on. And they hit him back and said, no, this is right. They were not going to change it. It wasn't until he went to the news and they shed light on the situation and they come back, oh, we're going to honor this and this and that. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like it's a tactic to get people over there and to get them to sign a contract and lock them in, but they're not really honoring. So if they did, I'm pretty sure that's not the only male teacher or just any teacher that they did that to. Offered them something verbatim and the paper says something significantly less. He was just one who stood up for himself and took a risk to put it in the news. Hopefully this gentleman don't receive backlash that they try to mess with him for doing that. But I don't know. I like how, I think Miss Benita said it earlier about the transparency with what they're doing. It's like they're doing these things, but they have ulterior motives.
Yeah, that's real. That's
community. I used to hear back in the day, you hear stories about how communities came together in light of things that were happening around them. that were to their detriment, right? Community, community, community. And here we are in 2023. It seems like there's a lack of it, right? There's so many different pockets. There's just a true lack of community. And, you know, I think I'm going to die on that horse, where until the community really comes together and says, hey, these are our demands. We know what you're doing. Stop it, right? These are our demands. This is what we want to see within our district. Things like this are going to continue to happen, right? And I think things like this are going to spread. I still don't know what the future holds, because here's the thing. I think some of the poorest areas are in HISD. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where River Oaks is. River Oaks is also the richest area in the city of Houston, right? So the politics are at play. People got puzzle pieces going. Go ahead, Festus. I see your hands coming together. About to
Yeah,
Go ahead,
you know, I get the Mr. Burns going, but so man, no, you just made a very excellent point, which, you know, I know we got to wind down here pretty soon, but the thing is, when you're talking about a district that's so large, the disparities in communities are really exposed. You know what I mean? Because if you look and you say, well, what's in River Oaks versus what's in Third Ward, you know what I mean? Yeah, you might have access to certain things, but it's the quality, right? Because there's a quote that says the greatest indicator of childhood outcome is the zip code that they're born into or that they live in. And I think that's something that holds true primarily because of the mindset of the people in that area. And so that's where, if you're talking community, if you're a person who's in River Oaks, sometimes you have to say, okay, I can't think about just what's good for me and my kid and what I don't want to happen. And, you know what I mean? And kind of cross that bridge. But I think it's also vice versa. I think, you know, and I'm going to say this from firsthand experience. There's a lot of ignorant poor people, and that's why they're ignorant, right? They don't want to hear from somebody else. You know what I mean?
Or that's why they're poor.
Yeah, that's why they're poor. Yeah, thank you. That's why they're poor. You know what I'm saying? I know we'll say some stuff on the show. They'll get you canceled nowadays. But hey, it's the truth. It's the truth. This is one of the reasons, to me, this is why the scripture says, and it's a paraphrase, to he who, oh man, I'm messing it up. To he who's been given, more will be given. To he who has much, more will be given, right? And to he who has little, even what he has will be taken away. And so that's the thing that we don't really look at as true, is sometimes when people who are impoverished say, man, I want more, I want better, oftentimes there's this risk factor where they're not able to risk what they do have in order to get something better. And so what ends up happening is it's crying, complaining, it's arguing. And instead of saying, hey, listen, I'm just slow. Show me, tell me, make sure you draw a map, give me the pictures, give me the colors, give it to me 8 different ways so I can understand it, so I can get to that next level, you know. But anyway, that's I'll close with that.
You know, I'm gonna say this because we're gonna wrap up here. The closer the more in my mind I say, ooh, that might get us canceled, the happier I am. I know that sounds bad, but the reason why I say it is because it's facts. It's facts. It's number straight fire facts. Number straight fire facts and truth behind what we're talking about. So I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, folks, thank you so much. This has been an awesome episode. Awesome episode. Miss Benita Gordon, thank you so much for coming and joining us. I hope you enjoyed. You got the link. Tell your friends. Tell them to come on in and join. And we're here every Sunday at 2 p.m. You are family. You are more than welcome to come in. All right, Daniel, the ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, the ambassador. Thank you to the future Dr. Jamar Crawford. Festus Samoye, go ahead and give him the phrase that ends it all for us, man.
So listen, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. Check out EduSteps, powered by Laddering Success. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and share button. for those who need to hear this message. And we'll see you on the next episode.
I hope you have an excellent week. Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.